All right, hi everybody. Welcome to our first read aloud for report our Greek mythology unit. Today I'm starting with a book called "The Gods and Goddesses of Olympus" by Aliki, which is a really great introduction to Greek mythology, the gods and goddesses of the world, and how things came to be. I'm going to be trying to get at least a paper copy of this to everybody, but if not, then this is the best we can do, then we'll make do. Also, there's some great illustrations throughout a lot of this book, and the way my camera's set up, I can't capture all of them while I'm reading, but I'll make sure before I turn pages, I zoom out so that you guys can at least see the pictures for a little bit. You can pause the video and look at them more if you'd like. Also, unlike Tolliver's Secret, there is no chapters in this book, and so we'll be reading certain sections. So this section is pages 4 to page 19. And even before we get started, here's a little bit of the map of the Grecian Isles, which I showed in our Welcome to Greek Mythology video. And it shows you some of the, specifically the places of some events that happened in mythology, such as Samos, the island where Zeus and Hera were married, or Mount Ida, where Zeus was hidden, or Mount Selene, which Maya born here, and Hermes was born there too. So it's a cool little map to show you where some things are that we're talking about. And unlike Tolliver's Secret, again, you're not going to see my notes in this book, as I'm likely to be using this book to copy for you guys, and I want you to be able to make your own notes. So I'll stop and share some thoughts if necessary, but if not, we'll just be reading. Here we go. Long, long ago in ancient Greece, some people began telling stories to explain the mysteries of life. Over much time, the stories, or myths, grew rich and imaginative. The storytellers wove in their customs, beliefs, and theories about life, death, and the wonders of nature. The myths were about gods and goddesses, fearful monsters, brave heroes, and mysterious beauties. People believed the myths were true. They worshipped the gods, who they believed helped and guided them, and built temples to honor them. According to the mythology, the gods and goddesses looked and acted human. They married each other. They laughed, loved, quarreled, and fought with each other. But they were immortal. They lived forever because a fluid called ichor, not blood, flowed through their veins. The mightiest of the gods and goddesses lived in a golden palace on Olympus, a mountain so high the top was hidden by clouds. They feasted on ambrosia and nectar, the food and drink of the gods. And whenever they wished, they could change shape and speed down to earth to mingle with the mortals. The awesome Olympians earned their thrones on Olympus. They fought a fierce battle and won. This is the story of how it happened. It starts at the beginning of time. And so this is kind of an introduction to the rest of the book that we'll be reading. And what I got from this is it gives us some background on what mythology is, like we did in the video here. Then over here it tells us what we're going to be reading about, which is the story of the beginning of time, how the gods and goddesses were created, and how even the world came to be, most likely. All right. In the beginning, Gaia, the earth, grew out of a dark space named chaos. Gaia gave birth to Uranus, the sky. And seeing this picture I can't help but be reminded of Tafiti, the island from Moana that we saw. And this depiction of the earth coming out of nothing and in beginning, and then the sky coming out of nothing in beginning. It's very prevalent in a lot of mythology. You see the same kind of story created in the Bible and other religious texts. This picture really reminds me of Tafiti. Uranus rained down on young Gaia, and plants, animals, and rivers appeared. Gaia became Mother Earth, mother of all living things, and mother of the first gods. Gaia and Uranus had many children. The firstborn were the 12 giant titans, 6 boys and 6 girls. 6 girls and 6 boys. And you can see the names of the titans here. Oceanus, Hyperion, Themis, Rhea, Theseus, Mnemosyne, Sois, Crius, Thia, Phoebe, Iaptus, and Cronus. Later, more children were born. 3 were the mighty Cyclopses, strong one-eyed giants, Argus, Brontes, and Steropes. 3 were the Hecatoncheires, monsters each with 100 arms and 50 heads, Baruus, Gaius, and Cotus. These monsters are crazy. Uranus hated the Cyclopses and the Hecatoncheires because they were ugly. He threw them into Tartarus, the deepest pit in the underworld. You can see that this makes Gaia pretty sad to see her children thrown into the pit. Gaia was furious. She urged the Titans to overthrow their father and rescue the brothers. Only the youngest, Cronus, was brave enough. He attacked Uranus with a sickle and banished him from the earth. Cronus replaced his father as lord of the universe, but he was cruel and did not free his brothers from Tartarus. Cronus married his sister Rhea, and they had many children, but Cronus was afraid that one of them might overthrow him, just as he had overthrown his father. Guilty conscience, maybe. So as each child was born, he swallowed it. Weird, huh? Rhea was horrified. When the youngest was born, she tricked Cronus. She hid the baby Zeus in a distant cave so Cronus would not find him. Rhea then gave Cronus a stone wrapped in a blanket. He swallowed that instead, blanket and all. Hidden away, Zeus was raised by gentle wooden nymphs and a nymph goat named Amalthea, who fed him honeyed milk. When the baby cried, the Curitus, Zeus's guards, clashed their weapons to hide the sound. Zeus grew into the strongest of all the gods and married Metis, a Titan's daughter. Rhea was still angry with her husband and wanted Zeus to depose him. But Metis, the goddess of prudence, was wise. She said Zeus needed help, for Cronus had the Titans on his side. Rhea found a way. With her help, Metis gave Cronus a drink she promised would make him undefeatable. And then up here it says, as thanks, Zeus gave the nymphs Amalthea's horn. He made it into a cornucopia, the horn of plenty, which never emptied of food. And he put Amalthea's image among the stars as Capricorn. These things might sound familiar to you. The cornucopia we see at Thanksgiving all the time, and Capricorn is a horoscope symbol that people once speak of. Instead, I'm just remembering that Rhea gave Cronus a drink she promised to make him undefeatable. Instead, it made Cronus throw up the stone and his unharmed children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. They were reunited and gratefully joined their brother. Zeus freed their uncles from Tartarus, and together they prepared to fight the Titans. And if you're asking, wait, didn't he swallow them? How'd they all survive? Because they're gods. And this is a made-up story. The Cyclopses, who were great builders and smiths, made the weapons. They armed Zeus with a thunderbolt that shook the universe. They made Poseidon a trident that could split the seas. They gave Hades a helmet of darkness that made him invisible to his enemies. For 10 years, wars raged between the old gods and the new gods. At last, Cronus and the Titans were defeated and thrown into Tartarus, to be guarded forever by their 100-armed brothers. I get a little bit of a glare here, but a picture of the war that went on for 10 years between Zeus and his brethren and the Cyclopses and the Hecatoncheires against Cronus and the Titans. Mother Earth was finally at peace. Rule of the universe was divided among the 3 brothers. Zeus was declared king of the gods and god of heaven and earth. Poseidon became god of the sea, and Hades, god of the underworld. Zeus, god of heaven and earth. Poseidon, god of the sea. Hades, god of the underworld. The Cyclopses built the victors a palace on Mount Olympus, with 12 golden thrones inside. For Zeus shared his powers with his brothers, his sisters, 6 of his children, and Aphrodite, the goddess of love. There, the great Olympians lived forever. There they all are. And it says, Iris, the messenger of the gods, had her own rainbow path to Earth, explaining why there are rainbows. Which again, I always find interesting that in Greek mythology, the rainbow is said to be the path that Iris takes to the gods in the Olympus, whereas in either Jewish or biblical mythology, the rainbow is used as a sign between heaven and earth about a covenant. Both explaining why there's rainbows in the sky. And then, actually, we'll just stop there for now. Marvelous. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. You probably don't have a book to write down a gist. But if you have a space to write your gist, a summary of what would happen here, that would be a good move for you so that you are prepared for lesson number 1 in our Greek mythology unit. I'll see you there.